Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 28th of February of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motown Noah. Last day of February. Wow, not a leap year this year. People out there whose birthday is February 29th. Sort of like, if humanity, like just as a people, if we had like an eighth wonder of the world, people who, it's like double jointed shoulders and like thumbs, those people, webbed extremities, those people, birthdays on February 29th. You get where I'm going with this? People with that stuff are sort of like the people of society. There's got to be another really, really good one in there. I'm going to leave that up to you in the comments. Someone will think of one. We actually know somebody here at the program with a February 29th birthday. Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets. He's one of those people. And I go, is it worth calling him? Get like a live reaction to like a, hey, happy birthday, happy, because you kind of have to pick a day to celebrate. Maybe you're sort of not at the mercy. You're at the reversey, the reverse mercy. Yeah, okay, I nailed it. The reverse mercy, the reversey of the date where you get to pick which date is your birthday. Well, maybe I should call him to ask him, do you think he'd pick up taping this? Does he live in Central or he live in Eastern? Worst case, it's like 8:45 Eastern Standard Time when I'm taping this. I don't know, man. He's been sending me a bunch of texts lately. It'd be about 3 o'clock in the morning. He'll go, man, I don't know. I'm just up late thinking about, I wake up to these texts. I don't know. Middle of the night. He'll be saying something crazy like, the more that I think about it, if I was a person who was persecuted for years, and then suddenly my homeland was attacked, I would then feel that I have the right to defend myself. And I wake up, I say, Jacob, what are you talking about? He goes, I don't know, man. He goes, overnight, I just put in this bid, $50,000 to charity. I get to stay at a kibbutz on the West Bank. I say, Jacob, what are you talking about? See, actually, what I'm talking about right now isn't even fair. I should call him to... we spent an hour in the last episode doing litigation. I should call Jacob to give him the chance to defend himself right now from the stuff that I'm talking about. You think he's gonna pick up? Because part of me is like, I never call him. So I feel like he's gonna think this is urgent. Put this on speaker. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's give him a call. The trial of Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, as it were. I will be waiting for it to go to voicemail.
Your call has been...
What's up?
Wait, is this real? Is this actually you, or is this your voicemail? Am I getting got?
What do you mean?
No, it immediately went to voicemail, and then you picked up. This isn't like a, oh, hey, and then 5 minutes into me having a conversation with you, you say that this is your voicemail?
No, that would be rude.
Cool. Do you got 30 seconds? I'm taping the show right now.
Oh, shit, yeah?
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday, first of all.
Yes, 25. I'm almost in the grave.
And for those at home, would you like to confirm what I just laid out? When is your birthday, actually?
February 29th, 2000.
So when do you celebrate it? Do you do it on the 28th or the 1st?
I do it March 1st because the logic is my birthday is the day after the 28th. So it's the day that it would be if it was the 29th.
And then some other allegations that were thrown out there. I just want to give you the chance before I get off the phone here.
I just want the record for the pod just to know that I'm blitzed right now. You called me at a great time.
Hold on. Do you want me to leave this in the show?
No, dude, I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. Well, there were some accusations.
This is the coping hour.
There were some accusations of some beliefs in certain territories having the right to defend themselves.
Sorry, what?
I don't know really where I want to take the direction of today's show, but I think the only way that I will feel that I did a succinct 60 minutes today is if I talk to you guys about the thing that Have we moved on as a culture from the Luka thing yet? I don't think so, because they just played each other. Finally had the showdown between the Lakers and the Mavericks. As the dust sort of starts to settle on that whole thing, the Pistons. Topic of discussion around the NBA right now. 8-game winning streak from the Detroit Pistons. Something that we have not seen since 2008. The Detroit Pistons have not been on an 8-game winning streak since 2008. Now, what does this mean? It means that the Pistons are so good that right now, I am paying attention to other games as they relate to the Pistons in the NBA standings. So, like, I'm taping this on Thursday night. Right now, the Bucks are playing Denver. The Pistons currently, as of this taping, are a half game up in the 5th seed, right? And so if Milwaukee loses this, they're in the 5th seed. By the time you're listening, you know how it shook out, right? Well, the other piece of this that's interesting is that Denver is playing Detroit on Friday, which will be the second night of a back-to-back, the first of which being a slugfest between Giannis and Jokic. I'm hoping this thing goes 4 overtimes. If it's okay if the Bucks win, as long as they tire Denver out, right? It would be ideal, fingers crossed, that Denver ends up winning. But it's like, okay, that puts the Pistons in better shape. I don't want to say good shape, because playing Denver right now is you know what? I was lying. First of all, we are still talking about the Luka thing. The Nuggets are probably no, they're not a bigger story than the Pistons right now, because the Nuggets were expected to be good, and all that is happening this season is Jokic is literally putting up Wilt numbers. Just had 19 assists in a game, which is the most that a center has had since Wilt Chamberlain. Was it 1968? Is that what I saw? So literal Wilt numbers. Russell Westbrook, as long as he's in the starting lineup, the Nuggets are awesome. They're the best shooting team in basketball this season. I think coming into the game against Milwaukee, I think at 10 of their last 11 wins. The Nuggets are hot right now. But are they hotter than the Pistons? A team that was literally the worst team in the league 365 days ago right now. And here we are talking about, I'm paying attention to this game as it relates to the standings because, maybe then the Pistons can sneak into the 5 seed. Can you wrap your brain around that one for 2 seconds? The coach of the year is maybe a good place to start with this whole thing. Because you're starting to see not just Pistons fans, but people around the league are slowly starting to not bang the drum, but they're having conversations about it. JB Bickerstaff, coach of the year, how do you not give it to him? Well, I'm going to stay consistent with what we have said on this program, what everybody is saying, that as it stands, impossible to not give the award to Kenny Atkinson for the job that he's done with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It truly would take a colossal meltdown from them in order for this award to fall into JB's lap. But we've spent the whole season talking about that. We've spent the whole season talking about why the perfect case exists for Kenny Atkinson, right? But now we finally have a reason as we sort of get into the late stages, of the regular season. Now there has to be a B story. Now there has to be another team that we've spent 6 months saying, open and shut case, it's going to be this thing or this guy or this team, this player, whatever it is. But then there has to be, it happens with the MVP every single year, right? Where there's a guy who's just going to win it the whole year. But then we spend the last month and a half of the season talking about, this other guy, because we got to talk about something, right? Well, we got to talk about something. For Coach of the Year, I think it's JB Bickerstaff. Because if you look at the Pistons roster today versus who was on it a year ago, yeah, the veterans are different, but the core of the team hasn't changed. And that's the part that blows my mind, is it's like the Pistons were never devoid of talent. They were devoid of leadership and of coaching. And that extended from the end of the front of the bench to the end of the bench to the front office to ownership, right? The fish rots from the head. But what we're seeing from the Pistons is a core that has stayed together and has built continuity under a coach that it desperately needed and that will fight on behalf of his players in the middle of a game. You never really saw Monty Williams getting that fired up for his guys in the one season that he coached here. You would see it from Dwayne Casey, but it's not really fair to compare the beginning years of this rebuild when we started to get some of these guys together with Dwayne Casey versus where they're at now. It's just not really fair. I don't I don't want to say any Pistons fans. Most Pistons fans do not, and I would argue should not have a problem with Dwayne Casey, right? I think it was a good it was a good indicator that the Pistons were moving on, but keeping him in the organization as a consultant, I think is what he is. And he still is to this day. I don't know what his title is now, but they wanted him in the building. But it was like, hey man, sometimes you just have to go get that next coach, right? To get you to that next level. The Pistons did that 20 years ago when they moved on from Rick Carlisle to Larry Brown. I'm watering that down a lot. There was a lot more nuance to it than that. But it's not uncommon that happens in the NBA. It just so turns out that the coach that they got completely reset the timeline on this thing. Or so we thought. Here comes along JB Bickerstaff. And I saw something really interesting today on the r/Detroit Pistons that I wanted to go through. Just how the Pistons got to this point in terms of like where they got all of these players from. Isaiah Stewart, we traded up to get him in the 2020 NBA draft. Cade was obviously first overall. Jaden Ivey was 5th overall. Jalen Duren was 13th overall, same draft as Ivey. Sasser was a late first. Tim Hardaway, offseason this year. Malik Beasley, offseason this year. Who, by the way, has proved to be the highest value free agent signing that the Pistons have ever had, ever. No, did they draft Sally or did they get him in free? If I go back to the Bad Boys, I would be able to find somebody. Even the going to work guys, who did we get? Who did we pick up that offseason that we won? I don't know. That's interesting. He's I don't know, because none of the players that I would be talking about, if I went back and looked at the teams that actually won championships in Detroit, none of those players going into March were 1-3 behind Anthony Edwards for most made threes in the NBA. Malik Beasley is 2nd in the NBA in made threes. What? How is that true? We covered this recently, halfway through, before the All-Star break. Malik Beasley already eclipsed the most threes made in a single season by a Detroit Piston. He did that before the All-Star break. The previous was, I think, Sadiq. And then before that, I think, was Blake in 2018, 2019. Or maybe it was like Allen Houston. I don't know who it would have been. But now it's Malik Beasley. He's got 2 months to completely shatter that if he wants to. And by the way, he might. Dude, if the NBA kept track of 4-pointers, like if that was already a thing, I think Malik Beasley might be leading the league in 4-point shots. Because when he's hot, like he puts stuff up that the Pistons just haven't had a guy, and I don't know if we've ever had this in my life, that whenever they shoot the ball, I'm like, oh my God, that's going in. The way that Malik Beasley does it this season, Malik Beasley, he is insane. Like single-handedly also transforming the atmosphere of a game. You think about I'm burying the lead here, but we're less than 24 hours removed as of this taping from the Pistons getting that 8-game winning streak because they beat the Jaylen Brownless Boston Celtics by 20. They killed Boston. They killed them. It wasn't close. It got a little bit close, but no, it didn't. Malik Beasley was a huge catalyst in that. Like getting the crowd involved, and I don't want to say anchoring a defense because I don't think he ever did that, but he's like making plays on the defensive end. And as a team, the Pistons' identity through this success has been defensive possessions turning into points on the other end, right? It is, I don't want to say it's everything that we've been waiting for, because I think that is somehow too devoid of the emotion that I think Pistons fans are feeling right now. Nobody can believe this. No matter how it ends, they'll get into the playoffs. I mean, there's just no way they don't get into the playoffs, right? But isn't it crazy that I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here? You know what? No, I'm not going to do some fake hypothetical where we lose in the first round. I don't know. Why don't we get there before I do that? Something else crazy about the Pistons on this stretch right now. Every single night, there's an obscure graphic that a Piston is leading the NBA in, or top 5 in the NBA in. Name the guy. Oh, you need something for Tobias Harris? Since January 1st, 4th in the NBA in overall plus minus. Oh, okay. That seems pretty cool. What about Cade? Oh, you need one for Cade? Cade Cunningham, 4th in the NBA in total games with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, or more than that. It's like Jokic, Giannis, Shea, and then Cade at 4, Jason Tatum at 5. That's like every single player on the team has one of those. There's another thing about the Pistons that I just can't get out of my head. During this, it's not even during this stretch, just like this has kind of been building all season, is their ability to hit shots in a moment that I don't want to say is clutch. Like when you think clutch and a player's ability to affect a game, like I'm not talking about 30 seconds left, it's a tie game, who's getting the ball. I'm not talking about that. But the Pistons' ability right now to like seismically change the momentum of a game in the middle of the second quarter when they're up by 15 points. And then the other team starts to go on a little bit of a run. They cut it down to 7. We're one more bucket going the wrong way away from calling a timeout and being like, all right, let's chill out. And it's in a moment like that with 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Pistons, their 15-point lead. They're facing an 8-0 run right now. Tobias Harris will cross half court, get the ball, dribble until he's 16 feet away and pull up and cash it. And then suddenly the crowd gets back into it. Now it's a 9-point game. You know what I mean? And then the deficit just grows a little bit more. It's demoralization for the other team. It's stuff like that. It's the plays like that Detroit is making right now that we haven't seen. Even the teams that in the last decade have gone to the playoffs, which has been in the last decade, what is that, twice? They just didn't make those. They did not make those little plays. The team loves each other. It's something you don't see in the NBA that often anymore, even from the really good teams. Some of the really good teams just have like good players, and that's it, right? Not to say that they don't care about each other and that there's no team chemistry, but this is like different because all of these guys, to take it back to the beginning, have been playing together. A majority of these guys, the core guys, have been playing together for 4 years now. They've been through everything. They've been through only bad stuff, by the way. It's like they've had some highs and they've had some lows. They've hardly had highs. They've gotten the shit kicked out of them for 4 years. And what that payoff must be like for them, honestly. And hey, the season's not over. They're not celebrating it yet. No, but I'm a fan, so I can sort of zoom out on this thing and be like, wow, what they're doing right now is really special. And they're playing for each other. That's what you just don't see. Jalen Duren was talking about, he's doing an interview. He's like, dude, like, yeah, like we hang out. Like we only hang out with each other. He's like, it's not just that we work together and like, you know, do team activities. He's like, no, like we hang out with each other. Like this team cares about each other. How about this? How about this? How about Asar Thompson making Jason Tatum's knees slap together? Had no idea where he was. He was lost. Jason Tatum, right up his eyes like a damn Looney Tunes character. Had no idea where Asar Thompson was. And it's such a rare moment in the modern NBA. This isn't even one of those like, oh man, the NBA used to be something. No, this has nothing to do with like shit used to be cooler 10 years ago when I was younger. No, this isn't like that. But you just don't see like an actual handles crossover anymore. There's nothing about picks or screens getting set and guys getting lost in that, or, you know, Chris Paul on the baseline stepping on Steph's ankle, and so it made the crossover look even worse because he actually kind of tripped because he stepped on Steph's shoe. Didn't have that much to do with the crossover. You guys remember what I'm talking about? No, dude, Asar Thompson just put Jason Tatum on skates, like one-on-one in isolation. And then the highlight got smoked, though, which was the part that stinks. What was it? Asar, like, went up for the layup, and he didn't miss it. I think he just dumped it off to Stu. Stu almost converted on the and one, but okay, he missed it. He got fouled. He goes to the line. I think he split the pair anyway, so it's like, all right, well. But the crossover itself was amazing. And I don't remember if I recently made this point here on this show or over on the shoot around, so I apologize. I will be repeating it if I did say it here already a couple of episodes ago. The thing I love about Asar and Amen, both him and his brother, is they are very opportunistic scorers, but the opportunities for them to score like are increasing. And that's because of them, by the way. That's not just like, the players around them got better and they know like where to look for them, making a cut or something like that. No, like Arsar will just be like, this is my possession and I'm going to go try to score. I'm going to go try to put the ball up at the rim. It happens way more. Like Pistons and Rockets fans right now getting to enjoy how good a Thompson twin actually is. There's just nothing like it. Because anything that you're going to say about one of them, you literally have to say about the other one. They are so good. They're so good. The Pistons right now are the best that we've seen them since 2008. 2008. 17 years ago. It was from January to February. The last time in 2008. So the calendar had just turned. You could say 2007 if you wanted to. You want to roll down? It's 2007. Let's make this thing even crazier. It's hard to make it crazier than, what is that, 17 years ago? It's hard to make it crazier than that. So then I was, the gears start spinning. I got the little content brain going, trying to think of in terms of the algorithm. And I was like, what was happening in the world the last time that the Pistons won 8 games in a row? It was 2008. We got a few good ones here. Pineapple Express got released that year. Also, Step Brothers. Step Brothers released in 2008. I think that was the year that the iPod Touch, like the first generation iPod Touch, either got unveiled or shipped, like internationally, 2008. It may have been 2007. 2008, we were on like the iPhone 2, maybe the 3. What else was there? You guys really wanted to point this out to me because I made a community post on YouTube about this. A lot of financial crisis jokes, and they were like, okay, so is this an indicator that the housing market is going to collapse? Yeah, it could be. It could be. Imagine that. Spin zone. The Detroit Pistons winning 8 games in a row is actually housing market adjacent for seeing oarfish washing up on beaches. You see an oarfish on a coastal beach and you're like, shit, that means an earthquake is about to happen. And the efficacy of that prophecy is probably like upwards of 90%. Pistons win 8 games in a row. Is it that inconceivable to think that we're going to have another housing crisis in the United States this year? This year would be crazy, but not unfounded. It wouldn't be, I don't know. Trump has kind of floated this out there in the past. I don't know. He's got RFK in his ear now, and RFK's whole plan was basically for like first-time home buyers, was basically to do exactly what we did to get us into the financial collapse in the first place. Which was basically just give first-time home buyers just like shitty bonds, or not bonds, but shitty loans. I don't know how that's done. We bought a house and I hardly understood. I was sitting there talking to a lawyer about buying. I don't know what any of these words are. It's crazy. You can spend more money that you have, like that you've ever made in your entire life. You're allowed to spend that in a year as long as your credit is good. And the government's like, yeah, you'll pay this back, but you probably won't. And then you just sort of drown in the, but maybe it's not even just like a housing bills. It's like medical debt and shit like that. But what else happened in 2008? One of you said Black Eyed Peas. That's all you said. Nothing about the Black Eyed Peas. But you're right, though. The Black Eyed Peas were happening in 2008. I think I Got a Feeling may have come out in 2008. That timeline sounds right. I was in 4th grade in 2008. Yeah. At least at the time, January to February of 2008. Yes, I was in 4th grade. Obama gets elected about, 10 months after this? So Obama was not even the nominee at that point. He was still battling it out with, I don't know, Joe was running that year. Who else was there? Best Picture at the Oscars was No Country for Old Men. That's a good one. Lady Gaga released The Fame that year. Very, very good one. Lions went 0-16. The Red Wings did win the Stanley Cup. There's an omen. Was it 6? 1-6 against Pittsburgh, and then the following season lost in 7. One of you pointed out the Dark Knight came out that year, and it getting snubbed at the Oscars made the Academy expand Best Picture to 10 movies. Yeah, all this shit happened the last time that the Pistons won 8 games in a row. It's 2008. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. We got one of you guys sending in an email asking me to fix the Suns. This one comes into us from Alex. The subject line, how do the Phoenix Suns build for the future? Hey, Nick. Been listening to your show for a while, but the first time that I'm commenting, was just curious on what your thoughts were on what the Suns should do from where they are at right now. Because you have 3 big contracts on the books. Who is pigeonholing the team for adding talent or progressing in one way or another? A 36-year-old Kevin Durant, whose management gave up their future to get... who management gave up their future to get him. Love him, don't get me wrong, but at this point it feels like a waste of his career and talents. You said it, brother, not me. A 31-year-old Bradley Beal, whose $50 million contract holds us back because not only is he not worth the contract, but he makes it hard to trade him and hard to add free agents who could be helping the depth. Yeah, it doesn't just make it hard to trade. It makes it impossible to trade. He's got a no-trade clause. Bradley Beal doesn't want to go anywhere, which he does not. He will not. Back to the email. And Devin Booker, who I'm not going to say a bad thing about because he's worth every dollar that the Suns are giving him, in my opinion, and he's the face of the franchise. I just want to know what you think our direction should be on who we get rid of, because clearly what we have isn't working, where we have Bol as our starting power forward because we don't have a quality roster around those 3. Skipping ahead here. Let me know what you think, because I guarantee you can probably do better than fucking Matt Ishbia. Sorry, this is a long email. No, you're fine, dude. Alex, thank you very much for the email. I don't know. Maybe I've only said it in passing in like the last 2 years. But I'm just going to say the same thing that I always say about Phoenix, which is like the only way that you are able to get out of this is if you do, because you're already copying Joseph Tsai, you just have to look over at his paper again. Look over at what Sean Marks did the second time, right? How did they get out of this? They just gave up all of the stuff. So it's like what's the word? Oh man, I just totally destroyed my rhythm. It's like you expend all of the resources that you have in order to pull off this heist. The clean 3, as it were, right? You had Kyrie, you had Kevin Durant, you had DeAndre Jordan. But then eventually you want to cash in even further and you go get James Harden. Now you are just resource poor. You have absolutely nothing. Well, the only way that you're going to restock the cupboards, so to speak, of all your capital and players who can actually play, you got to just sell off all of those same guys that you got in the first place, and you have enough of it, right, that you can get some stuff that puts you in a better position. You're not going to get all your picks back, but you can get a good amount of them back as long as you're playing your cards right. One of these guys has to go to Oklahoma City, right? It's going to just break my heart when it's not Kevin Durant. That's something I know for a fact I keep talking about recently. I'm not going to stop until it actually happens, right? That's the only way Phoenix is getting out of this. You're not going to pry Bradley Beal away from that contract, from that nothing. He is going to stay in Phoenix. He is going to get paid. That is all that he cares about anymore. That's all that he cares about anymore. Jeff Teague very famously said that there are players who care about championships and there are players who care about contracts. Most of them only care about contracts. Bradley Beal is a dude who, under the guise of good stats, in the past at least, and high dollar amounts attached to his contracts, would give you the illusion that he cared about winning a championship. He never did. He never did. If he actually did, he would have left Washington 3 years before he finally did. But he just kept waiting around and kept waiting around until he could get, like a 5-year contract? You could slide a little no-trade clause in there? Yeah, he's never cared. So you're going to have to eat that one. If you're Matt Ishbia, you're going to have to eat that one. There's just no way. Anybody who takes on that contract, it would be, I don't know, maybe call Nico Harrison or something. I have no idea. Who's going to get you the most, though, between Devin Booker and Kevin Durant? That's an interesting mental exercise. Because the Kevin Durant stuff is just confusing to me. Like that because I agree with you that it's just a waste of his career. I texted my brother like a month ago. I was like, I'm definitely at the point with Kevin Durant in Phoenix that I'm like, all right, where are we going next? Like, let's just do the next thing. Because this is not, it was really exciting when he first went there because it was like such a bizarre, like, whoa, Kevin Durant in a Suns uniform? Like, whoa, Phoenix is like not a powerhouse, but like they're a player in this whole thing now. We thought so, and sometimes a little bit, but not really. Do you get that? Was he going to be 36 next year, 37 next year? You're going to have to give up some stuff for Kevin Durant. It's just why Oklahoma City makes the most sense, because they can give up the most while it mattering the least. But who else would it be? I just think you're going to get more for Devin Booker. Would it be contingent on the team? Would the best case scenario Devin Booker trade, which I'm not even, by the way, going to throw some stuff out like, oh, I want 3 firsts and 2 swaps. I'm not going to do that. The Luka trade, my brain is still short-circuited from that whole thing. I have no idea what, like, we're going to need a new, well, I don't know, the De'Aaron Fox trade, maybe it was a more realistic indicator of, like, De'Aaron Fox went for a couple picks, a couple swaps, and, like, Zach LaVine. And then, well, he was in the deal. They didn't get swapped for each other. I don't know. But that's it. I mean, I don't know how else you're supposed to work around it. This kind of goes back to some stuff that we were talking about in the previous episode during the trial of Adam Silver. A lot of second apron stuff here that I don't understand. So, like, once you're over the second apron, you cannot aggregate more players in a trade than you are giving out. But what if the trade puts you under the second apron, right? So if I'm trading Devin Booker or I'm trading Kevin Durant, and doing that will put us under the second apron, can we then aggregate more players in the deal? You get what I'm saying? Because otherwise, this will be a capital-heavy rehaul, or rather rehash, and you're not going to get like who's a young player you would get hypothetically from the Oklahoma City Thunder? Do you get Aaron Wiggins? Like Aaron Wiggins and like Lou Dort? Well, you can't get 2 players. That's I don't know. Don't know how the second apron works. I wish that it was. But then it still bothers me, though, that we're talking about Kevin Durant like he can't play anymore. That's the piece of it. Brian Windhorst, I give him a lot of credit. I guess give him a lot of credit. He just knew Kevin Durant's representation and was just sort of the mouthpiece on this whole thing. But Brian Windhorst went on First Take, and he was like, reiterated a message from Kevin Durant, which was that he is still in his prime. Whoever gets him is going to be getting a guy still playing his best basketball, which I believe. I believe that. And I've tried to like workshop it. And Houston is the team that comes out a lot in this conversation. I don't know. What do you do with Devin Booker? I mean, I would literally not entertain any other idea than him just coming to Detroit. I don't know what other conversation there would be to have. I'm asking very earnestly, too. Like, where do you think Devin Booker is actually going to go? I could see Kevin Durant going to Minnesota. The Durant show up there. Could I see Devin Booker going to Minnesota? No, that wouldn't make any damn sense. That wouldn't make any sense at all. What if you gave Devin Booker to the Magic? Fuck. I didn't just say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that. I'm doing the Men in Black thing. You didn't hear that. He's not going to the Orlando Magic. Makes way more sense for him to be in Detroit. You know, Milwaukee's doing something weird. I should have said this earlier. Milwaukee's doing something really weird. So they have Dame starting at the 1, and then it's Taurean Prince, Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Kuzma. So there's 1 guard, 3 forwards, and a center. And then the other weird thing is that they're fine without Bobby Portis. I know Bobby Portis isn't like the way that he was in the championship season. He's still Bobby Portis. As of this taping, depending on how going into the Denver game, I should just say, 3-1 since the Bobby Portis suspension. Shit. Now you're watching a bunch of people freaking out over, oh wait, Kyle Kuzma's good. I have to reconcile with the fact that Kyle Kuzma is good. Got like 4 emails this week talking about Kevin Porter Jr. Am I allowed to like Kevin Porter Jr.? I'm having a crisis that I like Kevin Porter Jr. I thought this guy was an asshole. Am I allowed to like him? You can like whoever you want. I don't care. May not be good behavior, but I don't care about it. Kyle Kuzma being good? Yeah. Yeah. Been holding that stock for a while now. If you're from Michigan, I'm for life. For life, I will hold your stock. Played pretty well on a team that actually won a championship. I don't know. Jokes aside, maybe. Genie Bus did want to keep him around specifically. Somebody, at least in that building, had the presence of mind to be like, hey, the only player that we want to keep out of this young core, while we're blowing it up to get Anthony Davis, the only one that we have to keep is Kyle Kuzma. The reason I, sort of parenthetically question mark, am I joking here? some unsubstantiated rumors have circulated in the past revolving a relationship that Kyle Kuzma and Jeannie Buss may or may not have had. You know what video recirculated? I just saw this the other day, just as a quick sidebar. Saw this the other day, did a nasal exhale, funniest shit in the world. When LeBron was sitting courtside next to Jeannie Buss, and who was it? Who was the other woman that was there? And you can lip read this thing. It's the easiest. This is like elementary level lip reading. When he was like, I just want to say to y'all, happy International Women's Day. And they're all over him. It's the funniest video of LeBron that I think is out there. It's him saying happy International Women's Day courtside to Jeannie Buss. Kyle Kuzma, though, good at basketball. Been great for Milwaukee. Like, talk about real, oil meeting the fire, so to speak. Kyle Kuzma actually working in Milwaukee. Also, what a hilarious career he's having at this point. Because you get to spend, I don't know, your rookie year with the Lakers. If you're Kyle Kuzma, your rookie year was winning. Wasn't that the year that he won Summer League MVP? And then you spend the whole year just kind of like farting around with Lonzo. That was it. Like, didn't really do that much. You guys were just kind of having fun. But also beefing, like, very publicly. But, like, it was a joke beef. Like, you guys were, like, it was like boy beef. You know what I mean? Like, the boys are beefing. But it was, like, funny. And then Lonzo comes out with a diss track. Kylie Kuzma. Magic slaps him upside the head. And it's like, stop doing this. And then they stop doing it. We're also in the middle of the LeVar Ball, like, media blitz. LeVar Ball bursting onto the scene. He had sort of been in the media the years leading up to this, but now that his son, the prophecy that he had foretold ended up coming true, his son went to the Lakers. That actually happened. He was starting for the Lakers on opening night. Crazy. And then, time passes. Kyle Kuzma watches all of his friends get traded for Anthony Davis. LeBron shows up. Remember the first year of LeBron in Los Angeles? You go into the season and you're like, is he going to do it with these kids? Because we had just come off of, LeBron was in the finals for like 8 straight years. And then he just leaves. And he just goes to Los Angeles. And we're like, well, but can he do this with all these kids? And like, was Timofey Mozgov still? No, Mozgov wouldn't have been there anymore. No. The rumors of the Anthony Davis thing were there, but we knew that it wasn't going to happen yet. No. LeBron, didn't play a lot that season. Comparatively to what we had seen, he just, missed a ton of games because he was like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. I cannot play with these kids. There's no way. Anthony Davis, the final game of the regular season, wears a "that's all, folks" shirt in the tunnel going into the Pels game. I think Jamal Crawford also had 50. He's 39 years old, had 50. It's a wild day in the NBA. But that trade ends up happening. Kuzma, still there. Last man standing. Plays really well on a championship team. It, makes sense. And then he gets traded to Sacramento. And then about 15 minutes after he gets traded to Sacramento, that deal gets pulled off the table. It didn't actually happen. It was we got pump faked on a Kuzma to Sacramento trade. I don't remember what the actual deal was, but I remember it was a way better deal for the Lakers in terms of what they needed. I just don't remember who it was. Than what they actually ended up doing, which was trading Kyle Kuzma to Washington to get Russell Westbrook, which very famously did not go well at all. So then Kyle Kuzma was like, all right, I got a ring. I literally got a ring. I don't care. I'm gonna dribble the air out of the basketball and take 25 shots a game. It's not good behavior, but I don't care. I'm Kyle Kuzma. I got my fucking championship. And so he just spends a couple years just hooping, just hanging out, just hooping. He's getting paid. Who cares? I'm literally Kyle Kuzma. And then along comes Jordan Poole, who's basically in the exact same position that he is. I just won a championship. I was an integral piece of that championship run. And then I ran my mouth too much and I got punched in my fucking face. And record scratch freeze frame, that's how I got here. And so him and Kyle Kuzma are like, all right, this is our life now. I can't believe this is my life. Smiling through it all. .jpg. And then one day, this rug just gets pulled out from underneath Kyle Kuzma. They burst into his apartment and wake him up like that damn scared straight kid. He's crying. He's like, what the fuck? And they're like, you have to go back to hooping on a good team. You can't keep living this life anymore, Kyle Kuzma. You need to go play basketball on a team that actually wins games. And that's how he got to Milwaukee. And so, like, I don't know. Are we calling Washington a flow or an ebb? You talk about the ebbs and flows of a guy's career. Kyle Kuzma was certainly in an ebb. Washington will call a flow because that's kind of what he was doing, was going with the flow. And now we've hit another ebb. Kyle Kuzma back in the saddle, playing for a team that is good, that is competitive, and that apparently doesn't need Bobby Portis. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. You guys sent in one of you guys sent in a funny one. Subject line, sleeper Premier League team, from Jonathan. Well, I don't remember why this was funny. Hey, Nick, I know you've been trying to find a Premier League team to support in the increasingly likely event that Leicester gets relegated. I know Bournemouth has been having a very fun season, in addition to rostering one of the better American players in Tyler Adams. This is true. They have a lot of fun, young talent, and a good coach. In other news, if I can get my shit off, I officially accepted admission into law school yesterday and hope to one day join the collection of lawyer listeners. Whoa. Also, I just started watching Succession. Fuck, that show is good. Wow, lot of news, a lot of quick little, very quick email here from Jonathan. Thank you for this, brother. Yeah, Succession is the best piece of prestige television that has ever been produced. I don't know if anything will ever top it. I think it's the best show that's ever been made. It's like it's so good. Tyler Adams, yes, one of the better Americans that isn't. If you say what are the better Americans in Europe, you know how many of them play in the Premier League? I mean, Americans are in the Premier League right now. Americans on a roster. They don't have to be in the starting 11. Well, last year it was 8, and we're down. We went down 4. There are 4 Americans playing in the Premier League. The increasingly likely event that Leicester gets relegated. Dude, the day that I'm taping this, they played West Ham. I don't think I've been as close to completely pulling the plug on the season and just being like, I think I'm done. Because every week I go into it and I'm like, I don't know. I think they got a little bit of juice. I think they got enough to get 1 point out of this. And I'm always like, well, you know, there's 12, 13 games left. You know, there's still a lot of season to get out of the bottom 3, right? And then it starts. And then it just starts. And it's just always something. Even Koulibaly didn't even get, was he hurt today? I don't know. He didn't play. I don't know if IU ended up coming into the game. I hope he didn't because he gave up. Christensen, I said that weird. Christensen, I don't know. I go back and forth on whether or not he gave up. Vardy walked onto the field drinking a Red Bull, and I was like, all right, well, at least he's in good shape. At least nothing seems to be out of the ordinary for Jamie Vardy. They're just bad. They're just not good. And we're 30 minutes into the game, and they flash a graphic, and they're like completed passes from West Ham, 300, 117 for Leicester. And this is the biggest indicator. They're not trying. You're watching a commentary booth be like, wow, this game is not fun because Leicester literally isn't trying. You're watching an atmosphere, and the atmosphere sucked for that game in London. Which wasn't even the fans' fault. They were just watching like West Ham mechanically go through the game. There was they gave up. Leicester has given up completely. I don't necessarily blame them, but I also do. I think I might just be done. There's no reason to keep watching these games. So should I just tune into Bournemouth? Maybe. Holland came back. Finally got to watch him play for City. Scored. Should have scored twice. They called a handball on one of them. It wasn't. It's okay to lie. If you didn't want him to, I don't know if was the over-under set at 1.5. You just didn't want that to cash. Someone was in on the take on that. It was not a handball. It wasn't. What else happened? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I didn't watch. I watched a different game. I don't remember what it was. We played a lot of FIFA though. I made a community post about that. And I got to tell you, all I did in the community post was say that I had been doing a managerial career on the hardest difficulty. Because I was like, I want to actually play the game. Like, I want to see if I actually know what I'm doing at all. Even if playing on the hardest difficulty of a sports game is not the best indicator of, like, do you actually know, like, how to play the game? Because, like, if you play the hardest difficulty of Madden or college football, that's bullshit. It's cheap and it sucks. So I was like, well, FIFA will surely be different. It's not. It isn't, but I'm a lot better at it than I thought I would be. But, like, if you can't beat City. It's impossible to beat City. It's something about the script. I don't know how to describe it, but I think in the community post I said, you play Brentford and they're American snipering a 25-yard pass. And if you play City, Ederson's got fucking Neuralink. He tracks the ball like you would not play. So it's just not fair. And so a lot of you guys, I see a football manager playthrough in your future. I don't think so. Because isn't the thing with Football Manager that you're just the manager? It's like, remember the old NFL head coach games? You were just the head coach. That was it. That's all you could do was just head coach and like GM shit. It was awesome. But I'm like, that's cool. But part of the reason I'm playing FIFA is because I also want to play the game. Like, I like controlling the guys. So, no, probably not Football Manager. I've destroyed, I don't think I said this. I picked Aston Villa. I just did the thing where I closed my eyes and held down the button while it was, cycling through all the teams. I just count in my head to like 15. And then as soon as I get to 15, I just hit X. And then whoever the team is, that's who it is. So that's why I picked Villa. I've completely destroyed their finances. I don't know. I don't know how the cap. I can't figure out how the fuck it works. Because 1 week they're like, no, you can't get Pulisic. We don't have the money for him. And I was like, all right, fine. But then like 2 weeks go by. I haven't sold or loaned any players. Nothing like that. They're like, oh, you can pay Pulisic that money now. So did we just generate enough revenue? Is that all it was? Oh, so I ended up with Pulisic. Well, I also got Rashford because I'm like, well, if I'm playing at Villa, this is FIFA from last year, so the rosters aren't exactly perfect. So I went and I got Rashford. He's fucking useless. About as useless as he has been in real life. He did just get an assist the other day. He did. I don't remember who they were playing. Nice little assist from Rashford. But I do think it's funny that he left United's bench just to sit on Villa's bench. That's funny. In the game, he's terrible. He's not good. Pulisic is fine. I needed a striker. What's the guy's name? Musa Diaby. I was using him. Really nice. But then, what's that guy's name? Darwin Nunez. Found out about him, and I was like, I gotta have this guy. Striker extraordinaire. The guy's good. I play on the highest difficulty is legendary, I think. So I dropped down to world class. I'm still netting shit 4 goals a game with Darwin Nunez. The guy is a machine. He's amazing. So I've put a pin in him. I was like, maybe wherever he plays, I'm just going to, wherever he ends up throughout his career, I will just follow Darwin Nunez. The guy is amazing. Got him at Villa. Lost the league. We weren't in the Champions League. We just lost the league. We finished like in 3rd, I think. My first season on the second hardest difficulty. I was like, okay, all right. Getting a little a grip on this, so to speak. We got an email from Bathroom Tom. Yeah, he weighed in on the trial of Adam Silver. I was really hoping that we would have a lawyer reach out with their lawyer speak iteration, or maybe a write-up of what we did on this program. I could not have asked for a better email. Bathroom Tom, some of you will know him as Wizards Fan Tom. Some of you might know him as his preferred nomenclature, which is Hot Tom. Well, all the aforementioned names. Tom is a lawyer, an actual lawyer. Much like a suspicious number of you who listen to this show are. I can't wrap my fucking head around that, because that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm scared of, like, real shit. Tom, we'll get to your email in just a second. real life, I'm scared of lawyers. They make me really, really nervous. They make me really uneasy. I don't want to say I find them weaselly, because a lot of you guys who listen to this seem like nice guys. But as soon as I find out that you're a lawyer and you're wearing like a suit, I'm going to feel really on edge. All right? I had one bad experience with a lawyer. Hate the guy to this day. Terrified of him. So now it's like all lawyers, right? Well, I also view them as like just really smart. And like they're always thinking about how to get you. In like normal, mundane, everyday conversations. And we as a society, like in some instances, you are forced to put so much faith into like a public defense attorney, right? And I just can't get it out of my head that that person would be on their way to morning litigation, listening to me do a bit about like, what if Gilbert Gottfried was your driver assist in your car? You're going to court. You can't listen to this. Your client's going to jail. I can't. That will never not be the funniest thing to me. But okay, so what did Tom email us? It's a lot. I don't think I could possibly read this whole. There's no way. But here's what I'm going to do. For the YouTube description specifically, because I don't think the link will convert on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I will put in the description on YouTube a link to, I think I'm going to copy and paste this into like a Google Doc. So that if you at home are curious to read what an actual lawyer typed up, Tom, what do you want to call this? Is this your indictment? Is this your legal dossier? What is like the word for what this is? I'll put it in the description. Tom, I will leave out any identifying information. And if once you catch wind of this, if you want me to take it down, I'll take it down. I don't, this is just coming to me in real time that I think it would be funny to post it because I just can't read all of this, but I don't want your work to get brushed under because you sent this at like 3 a.m. Straight up, Tom's in the bathroom at 3 a.m. and he types out this. His interpretation, his take on the trial of Adam Silver, again, from an actual lawyer's perspective. So, Tom, welcome back to the show. Today before the court, we were informed of the evidence and arguments presented at the trial of Copenhauer Incorporated. There's so much shit. There's so much lawyer words. Versus Adam Silver. Before evaluating said claim, it must first be explained that this trial was conducted through means which were improper to properly make. This is what I'm fucking talking about, Tom. You're trying to get me. I'm reading this. I can't read this. And I have to have a master's in communications from NASA in order to read this. I can't read this, Tom. But I'm going to try again, okay? And hold on, folks. Stay with me, because we're going to get through this. Before evaluating said claim, it must first be explained that this trial was conducted through means which were improper to properly make any determination of character or guilt towards the defendant, Mr. Silver. In analyzing the case, we must lay the proper facts to begin a determination of any violation and the true implications of such claims against the defendant proving truthful. Adam Silver is a lawyer and a sports executive, most recently occupying the role of commissioner for the National Basketball Association, parenthetically herein referred to as, quote, the NBA, unquote, closed parentheses. The premier basketball league within the United States professional sports arena. During his time as commissioner, Adam Silver has been tasked with offering his legal expertise as well as his professional and personal acumen to guide. Am I losing you at home? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to show you on the screen how long this is, and then you can decide. Oh, it's not going to focus. What if I go back here? It's not going to focus. It's so long. And Tom worked really, really hard on it, and it's very funny. By the end of it, it's funny, and he's not making jokes in here. Maybe you do. I haven't read the whole thing, Tom. Do you say anything crazy in here? Oh, okay. Well, okay, let's skip to... I'm just reading this blindly, Tom. He chimes in on the geopolitical, the China stuff about Adam Silver. This is from Tom. The geopolitical infractions involved are all valid claims and require quick but separate analysis. First, the, quote, China tweet, unquote, represents a geopolitical issue which is extremely difficult for all business entities to navigate, as well as government entities as well. The United States underrates under a two-China policy, though this could have been thought to have been a four-China policy at one point. Hong Kong, is it Macau? Is that how you say that? And Taiwan all represent semi-autonomous regions within China as we would understand them. A possible... I can't do this. I can't read this. Who's the kid that just was like, I got accepted into law school? Which, by the way, congratulations. I don't know if you want this to be your life. Did you know it was like this? I don't know what... It's like you use so many nouns and pronouns and superlatives and synonyms and shit that I forget. I spend so much... Dude, I have to read this shit with my finger. I'm sitting here. I sound like a fucking 5-year-old. Do you remember in elementary school... Did you guys ever do this? Where the class would read together and you'd have to pass around the microphone. I love getting the mic passed to me because I could read so well as a kid. I had the best. I could read so fast and I was so good at it. Well, I was the kid who, if someone was illiterate or they read slow, I would be like, look at this fucking idiot. They don't know how to read. That's hilarious. And look at me now. Who has egg on their face? I'm reading a legal document and tracing it with my finger. I can't read this. Continuing, the fact that the NBA allows a national league to make statements towards the government in a country with free speech as an enumerated right is not dispositive towards a finding that the handling of sensitive geopolitical issues require differing degrees of detente and handling from the commissioner of the NBA. I have to figure out what each word means. There are too many syllables in this. I spent so much time like sounding out every single word to make sure I'm saying it all coherently that by the time I get to the end of it, I don't even remember what we're talking about anymore. That's how they get you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I can't keep this straight in my head. It'll be in the description though. If you want to check it out, do a legal literacy check for yourself. You know, that you go to the doctor, ladies, check for lumps. You know, when you're in the shower, make sure you check for lumps. Fellas, you know, they want you to like massage your testicles, you know, get a prostate exam or something like that. I need a doctor to put a legal document in front of my face and I need to, with like a consequential decision at the end of it where I have to do a signature. And it could get bad if I can't. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying here? Really put me on edge here. Put me through a legal literacy test. Thank you, Tom, for that. What else do we got? Oscars coming up this weekend. I got bad news. I don't know. First year, and I don't know how many years that I don't know. I have no idea. Because usually in the past, I'll just spend the whole year going to the movies, and then by the time the Oscars come out, I've just happened to have seen most of the movies, and then the ones that I haven't, from like January to March, I will just passively watch on streaming or whatever, right? Dog, I went to the movies like 3 times last year. I saw Civil War. I saw Maxine. There was something else I saw too. There's one more in there that I saw. I can't remember what it is. Maybe it was just those 2. So I haven't seen that many. I watched Dune Part 2 on my phone. Which is... It's very funny to me as a bit. Like, yeah, this grand movie that... It's like if somebody saw Oppenheimer for the first time on their phone, it would annoy me as somebody who saw it in its intended 180 millimeter. Like, it's something that I will never see again for the rest of my life. Just as a spectacle, right? Well, fuck, I wish I saw Dune Part 2 with the same aspect ratio. No, I watched it on my phone. What else did I see? And also, Dune Part 2, like, sneaky not really a major player in the Oscars this year. They'll win 1 or 2, but they're not in nearly as many categories as I thought they were going to be. I was also bummed that Civil War didn't get a nomination for Best Sound Design. I thought that was really too bad. You know, it's one thing to go to a movie and because look, this sounds dumb, but like this is part of the reason why it sucks so bad that movie theaters as in like an industry are back in decline. The Oppenheimer craze. I'm sorry. Well, I should say Barbenheimer craze was oh my gosh, it was brilliant for movies, right? Because it just changes for movie theaters, I should say. Because sitting in a theater just changes the way that you absorb a movie, the way that you view it. The experience is just so much different. And that's something that Civil War, I think, was able to give you in a theater. It's just a fundamentally different experience than if you did just watch it on your phone. Or, you know, once it hit HBO Max, you just like watched it home. It was just a different experience. Because in theater, this is what I'm talking about, the sound design. Like, it's one thing to watch violence happen in a movie and the gunshots, bang, 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 and it's just loud, right? Of course it's going to be loud. But with Civil War, the sound design was such, like, dude, there was, like, bass. Like, you felt it, like, reverberate. And there was a lot of gunshots in that movie. So it was like, bah, bah, bah. It was like you were almost disoriented by it. I thought, but it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Just watched Nosferatu finally. Fuck. Oh. Whoa. No. Hell no, dude. If Robert Eggers comes out with something, I will see it. Right? Immediately. The Northman came out. I was supposed to be at the premiere for it. We got there too late, and the line was too long, and they didn't let us in. That sucked. We were at the Chinese theater, too, so it was like a real, real-life premiere of the Northman in Los Angeles. Was supposed to be there. Got all dressed up. Got there too late. Me and one of my producers. And then we didn't know what to do, and I was like, hey, I've never had In-N-Out. Can we get In-N-Out? And he was like, oh, yeah, sure. And so we did that. Okay, yeah, it ended up being a good consolation. But anyways, yeah, Robert Eggers. Love him. Sneaky the Northman, I think, is just his best. Even though it's just the Lion King, it's so good. But if it wouldn't be the Northman, it would be The Witch. Love it. The Lighthouse, I just wasn't. It was fine. And I'm going to comfortably put Nosferatu at the bottom for one reason. It was too much for me. It was the most unsettled and disturbed I have ever been watching a movie in my entire life. And there was one specific thing that happened at the end that I don't really want to say, but it involved kids, and I didn't need to see it, and it genuinely upset me. I was like, I did not want to see something that violent happen. I can handle violence. It doesn't bother me because I'm the same guy who the second that movie ends and I watch, children get murdered, and then I'll be like, that was fucked up, and I'm so unsettled and disturbed, and I never want to see that again. And then I open Reddit and I watch a Ukrainian guy eat a grenade. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But it just does not affect me the same way. Nosferatu, it's just too much. It freaked me out too much. Just couldn't handle it. Talk about cashing the ticket of, hey, there's a transformation in this movie by an actor that is maybe the best that's ever been done ever. Being Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. We had heard that. Robert Eggers was like, you will have no idea. If we didn't tell you who Bill Skarsgård is in this movie, there's a non-zero chance that you would have no idea. I was like, whoa. Yeah, no, he's insane. He's insane. But here's my problem. Another problem with Nosferatu is it's one of those movies that the last shot, the very last frame, is just so striking, and it just stays with you. And it's that's what you remember about a movie is the last 2 minutes of it. One of the biggest reasons I think that Oppenheimer is viewed so favorably is not just the experience and some of the stuff we talk about. The end of that movie, the final 2 minutes of that movie, brilliant, and it puts such a strong bow on it. It's such a good exclamation point for the entire movie, and that's what stays with you. That's the last thing that you're thinking about when you leave the theater, right? Nosferatu has that. I think it does. This is another movie. It's a zombie movie. It came out a couple of years ago. It's not really. I don't know even where you can stream it at all. Unlike 123 Movies or one of the piracy ones you could. Called Here Alone, and I think about that movie a lot. Because the final 30 seconds and the last shot of it, I think it's my favorite that I've ever seen from any movie. The movie's not that great. It is a very low budget post-apocalyptic zombie movie. But it's the very, very end of it that I've just never gotten out of my head. So as far as the Oscars go, I'm just there for the spectacle, to be honest with you. I'm there to see someone get slapped, someone read an envelope wrong, maybe. I don't know. Something would be cool, though. Just a little something to spice it up. But nothing like politically motivated. As long as, in terms of speeches, I don't really want to hear anybody say anything. It's like, all right. But I don't mean that. No, okay. You know what? As I said that, I heard how that may sound. I'm not trying to be the guy who's like, oh, like, shut up and act. I'm not being that guy about it. But, like, when Leonardo DiCaprio wins an Oscar, this is his first ever Oscar. 2016, does The Revenant wins Best Actor. Wow. And he kind of talks for like a minute about it, and then he just goes into like, oh, and then also the glaciers are melting. And that's like all his social media is too. He's not like in Turks and Caicos, like with an 18-year-old Israeli supermodel. Like, what's up? Like, who else just turned 18? Are you just like me for real? No, he's just like, oh, like a glacier just melted, like straight up. And I don't know. Imagine being friends. I never used Be Real, that app. Never used it, never downloaded it. I thought it was just like a really, what's that saying? If the service is free, then like you are the product. Yeah. Be Real just sort of seemed like a, what would it be? Like a data harvesting technique. Something maybe a little bit deeper in there about it too. It was not just an app. But imagine like Leonardo DiCaprio on Be Real. Like imagine the cool shit that he would be doing all the time. Or when he's not. Like just imagine Leonardo DiCaprio just like straight up chilling in his underwear and in his house. Just watching old Scorsese movies. What else could happen at the Oscars? I don't care that Conan is hosting. I don't care. I bet he'll make me laugh. I believe he'll make me laugh. I don't care. Folks, if you're listening to this on Spotify, I almost said what's up. I can't give that to Spotify. Spotify, I love you. That's what I got for you guys this week. Apple Podcast, what's up? What's up? Apple Podcasts, what's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys. Oh my God. Holy shit, I forgot. Dude, this just came to me. I can't forget to tell you guys about this. You want to talk about life in the big city. We've lived here for almost 6 years now. There have been fewer moments than what I experienced the other day that I have been like, wow, this is like, that's Chicago. That's what it's like living in the big city. Dude, so we went to Marshall's, and literally while we're pulling up to a red light, Marshall's is right there. We're right there. We just pull into a little parking garage. It's right there. We pull up to a red light, and a dude starts sprinting out right in front of our car, like crossing the street in the middle of traffic. And who's tailing him? 2 police officers. 2 of them. Little on-foot pursuit. One of them's doing the thing. Wow, he's running. He's going in his little walkie-talkie over here. Oh, we need more units. We need more units cutting off Whale Street up here. He's going over to Canal Street. He's crossing over the bridge by the Home Depot in this little Hooters Expo. It's called the Hooters Express. It's called Hoot. It's called Hoot. It's just a Hooters though. Imagine that. And there's maybe, by the way, another piece of commentary in there. What the fuck is this about Hooters going out of business? Filing for bankruptcy, potentially? What is this? There's no way. There's no fucking way. It used to be that American men loved boobs. And they loved wings. Not anymore. Because now they love cutting Social Security and, I don't know, whatever the fuck else. What is that all about? You're telling me under Make America Great Again. So boobs aren't cool anymore. That's it. All right. I guess the last time America was great was when they didn't acknowledge that boobs were. Now we won't have Hooters anymore. By the way, I am still very much on the side of if I even had to walk into Hooters, I would fucking throw up and I would want to leave immediately. To get that clear. But it does not sit well with me as somebody who loves their merch. You know who loves Hooters? Devin Booker. Guy's always thinking about Hooters with the fellas. Where was I? Yeah, okay, so that happened. Guy on foot pursuit. And then they had pit maneuvered a city bus with 2 police cars with their sirens on. And they had a woman already in cuffs just like sitting on the ground on the curb. And I can't help it. The first thing I said to Maddie, I go, damn, he sold her ass. Because however it shook out, right? All we saw was the guy was just getting chased and the woman was already in handcuffs, right? However it played out, he sold the shit out here. That's too bad for her. That's no matter what happened, that sucks. That's too bad. What was the other thing that happened? So we go to Marshall's and we go to like DSW. We, do all this stuff. And then we take the family. We do a little trip across the street. We go to Chick-fil-A. And our son is officially 10 months old. We've never sat with him in a restaurant because we just have too much anxiety about it. We're like, it's Chick-fil-A. Like, he'll be okay. So he's just sitting in my lap. We're in a booth. Maddie's sitting across from me. We're just eating our Chick-fil-A. Everything's going fine. And then a guy comes over. And he was like, congrats on the family that you're starting. And he puts down these 2 little plastic chips. And I had kind of like freaked out because, I don't know, he was close to my son. And so I was kind of like getting it ready to like, I don't know, like not fight him, but at least like chop him or something. I don't know what I was doing. So I was tense. No, he just gave us these little coupons. They were like little Chick-fil-A, hey, present this to the cashier and you get like an ice cream cone or a cookie or like one other thing. Gave us 2 of those. I don't know, just for being there. He was clearly like, I don't know what his title would be I don't know what this would be for food, but like if you work retail, you have district managers and their job is to go to all of the stores in your district and just kind of be the bosses of those stores. Boss. He was like that, but for Chick-fil-A. And he was clearly just working out of a booth from that location that day. So, okay, a corporate guy giving us, well, my brain immediately went to this. I said, holy shit. I said, Maddie, I go, how rare is it that you are able to directly trace karma? And like, because I did this thing, this just happened right here. She goes, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, a week or 2 ago, we were in Target and that Asian guy that we were in the elevator with had a bunch of racist shit happen to him. And I denounced it immediately. I didn't help the guy. I'm just saying I was able to identify it immediately and be like, that was racist. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, because I did that and I acknowledged that what we saw was racist and was fucked up. I go, we wouldn't have gotten these coupons if I didn't do that. So it was a really cool moment. And then it was also just like, wow, this is the big city. It was crazy. All that stuff happened within like an hour or 2. What else? No, that's it. I forgot. I pump faked you guys on the outro. Okay. I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful.